Good morning. Today on this beautiful sunny Sunday here in California, we're going to be doing some yin yoga. So yin yoga is a little bit different than vinyasa yoga, which is what I have been normally teaching. I've taught a few yin classes already, but if you're just now new to a yin practice, a couple things that are different about it, rather than breath to movement, where with a vinyasa class where we're moving through a flow and it's a sequential flow where we go through downward dog and a chaturanga push-up and upward facing dog. It's none of that. So instead we are working on gently opening up and releasing tension in our connective tissues of our body. And this is done through longer holds in fewer positions. So a traditional yin class will really only have about 7 or 8 postures that you hold, but you hold them for anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes. So this is a really nice way, a really mellow way to just unwind and have a very relaxing, very stretchy yoga class. So, and when we mean connective tissues, it's the ligaments, it's the joints, or the ligaments and the muscle tissues, the fibers that connect the joints to the muscles. It's our skin even, it's our cells, it's everything. So all of those connective tissues in the body, we're just releasing tension in those. And I'll get more into those, more into that as we go. But you're going to want a lot of props. So I would recommend grabbing a blanket, and I'd recommend grabbing several pillows, something that hopefully you can find some pillows that are pretty firm. Those will definitely be better for what we're trying to do. And then I think that's it. So just grab like 2 blankets and like 4 pillows, and we should be good there. And again, we're going to be holding about 6 poses for up to 3 minutes. So just be prepared to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but know that if your discomfort teeters and goes past the edge of pain, or past the point where it's discomfort turning into pain, just recognize that you want to back out of those poses. We don't want to feel pain. Slight discomfort is normal, and it's a good thing because it's challenging our body to open up in different ways. So we're going to get started on our backs, and we're going to have a pillow, maybe 2 pillows with us. So we're starting in a supported, sorry, let me take a sip of this. We're going to start in a supported bridge position. So I'm going to use my yoga blocks just because that's what they're used for. But if you don't have yoga blocks, this is where those pillows will work in place of that. So you're going to lay all the way down on your back. And oh, my back just cracked. And you're going to place the soles of your feet flat on the mat. And you're going to lift your hips up so that you can take the block or your pillow and place it underneath your sacrum. So it should be right above your tailbone, not on your lumbar spine, but right on that bony part of your low back, where your low back meets your butt cheeks. So we want it in that comfortable position where this should feel pretty good. And you may, if you want it to be a little bit more intense, you can stack a few pillows so that your hips are raised even higher. But this is totally, it's totally up to you what feels good in your body this morning. And then you'll have your hands or your arms out by your sides with your palms facing up, and your neck should be straight. And then just lift your shoulder blades off of the mat and pull them underneath you so that you're resting more on the shoulder blades and your shoulders than you are on your neck. So we don't want to be putting pressure anywhere on our cervical spine. We want the pressure points to be on our shoulders and on the back of our head. And we're going to be here for a little while, and then I'm also going to offer some extra sort of movements that you can add to this, some extra postures. But we'll stay here for a couple minutes, and we're going to just start to breathe a little bit deeper and settle into this class. So the one thing that I want to mention about yin yoga and the connective tissues is this concept of it's not a concept, it's a part of our body called fascia. And what fascia is, and I like to use this metaphor, my yoga teacher taught me this metaphor, but it's when you peel a citrus fruit, like an orange or a grapefruit or a lemon, you'll notice all the white bits that are surrounding every part of the fruit. It's covering the inside of the peel. It's around, it's those little white things that you pull off, right? It's around the fruit. It's like in a casing surrounding each individual little piece of the grapefruit or the orange. And it's everything that just connects the entire orange together, right? And you're peeling it off and it's sticky, right? So we actually have something very similar like that in our body called fascia. And fascia it's that sticky substance that covers every single inch of our insides, from the subcutaneous layers of our skin all the way down to our cells. And fascia literally covers each individual cell. And when we have, let's say, for an example, if you injure yourself and there's inflammation in that injury site, or there's pain and inflammation, or when you do a particularly difficult workout and you feel like maybe you did or your quads are really sore, and you feel like you need to roll them out or something, right? So what's actually happening there is, with an injury, whenever we injure ourselves and inflammation occurs, extra fascia will start to build up in that site of injury in order to protect the site, right? So it's creating extra connective tissue to allow it to heal, and so that it's protected from extra movement or further injury. And that's how scar tissue forms. So if you like lacerate something, or like you break a bone, and scar tissue will form deep underneath there, and it's really, really tight, right? So it's you have to increase your range of mobility again. What's happening there is that fascia is building up in that place, and it's really, really sticky, and you have to roll it out, and you have to increase your movement in order to break up that sticky fascia to get everything moving smoothly again. And then conversely with your muscles, and if you have muscle soreness after a hard workout, it's the same concept. When we work our muscles really difficult, or when we work our muscles a lot and we have soreness, there's slight inflammation there, and you sort of feel like your muscle is really tight. It's not actually the muscle that's tight over the bone. The muscles are moving freely and smoothly over the bone. Muscles by nature are a really slick tissue. But the fascia that gets built up there is sticking onto the muscle and preventing it from moving. So we want to be able to break up that sticky fascia over the muscle by stretching and rolling and all of that. With yin yoga, what we're doing is we're targeting parts of the body that hold a lot of tension due to stress. So that's the shoulders, that's the hip, that's the low back. And we're targeting those areas, and we're putting ourselves into these postures that allow the connective tissues, that fascia, to release gradually. So we're stretching and opening those areas so that the fascia can release, can break up, and and not only the fascia, but the stress that we hold because of that. So anytime that you're stressed, inflammation occurs, right? So we want to be able to break up that area, release that tension, and release that stress. So that's a little fascia 101 for you and yin yoga. So I invite you in this position. This should feel pretty good right now. I invite you to start to straighten one leg. So maybe you extend your right leg straight out in front of you and rest your heel to the mat. Keep your foot Flex as much as you can, but don't engage the legs so much that you're feeling like you're putting a lot of effort. This should be more of a passive um, pose. So we're holding here and we're going to take some nice deep breaths here. So your right leg is extended. You should feel a little bit of an opening, if not a big opening, in your right hip flexor. And with yin yoga, we never want to get into a position where, or a posture where we're pushing ourselves further than our limit. We want to get into the posture where we find that we feel a slight stretch or maybe a good stretch that feels nice, and hold there and stay there. And then that is where that gradual tension release happens. It's not when we push ourselves too far. It's where we go right below our limit and we hold there and we let it go just naturally and we breathe and we relax. So take some really deep breaths in and out through the nose here. Starting to bring your awareness to that right hip flexor. Noticing any tingling sensations that come up in that right hip flexor. Noticing how the pillow feels in the back of your sacrum. Noticing any other areas in your body that may feel tight, that may feel just like any sort of sensation that is coming up at all. Feel the connection from the mat to your feet, the back of your right heel, the sole of your left foot. Maybe wiggle the left toes just to feel that connection even more to your mat. And then feel the back of your head on the mat. Maybe you nod your head and rock your head side to side. So just bring that awareness there to that connection point. And then feel the ground support your arms and your knuckles and your hands. And imagine that there are roots growing from all of those connection points down to the ground, like tree roots. And let your body sink further into this pose. Remembering to deeply breathe. This pose is really nice because we hold so much stress in our hip flexors. Our natural stress response, like a human natural stress response, is to curl up into a ball in fetal position. Even if we're not consciously doing that when we're stressed, our body is subconsciously moving in that direction. So it's pulling on the hip flexors and pulling a lot of tension in that area. So this is a really nice way to release and open up space in an area where it's always compressed. And this actually helps with the low back pain in the low back as well. So when your hip flexors get shortened and strained, it's putting pressure on your low back because your hip flexors are connected to some tissues in your low back. Notice any tingling that may start to happen in the toes of the right foot. And come back to your breath if you've stopped that deep, heavy breathing through the nose. With each inhale, feeling your belly rise towards the ceiling. And with each exhale, feeling it fall back towards the ground. Very slowly start to bend the right knee. And place your sole of your right foot flat on the mat. Extend the left leg straight so that you place the left heel flat on the mat. So we're opening up on the other side here. And just let that leg relax. No need to engage it, just let it relax into the mat. Start to feel that opening in the left hip flexor. Bring your awareness to the sensations in the right leg of returning it back to a bent knee. So you may feel a little bit of warmth in the sole of the right foot. Imagine those roots again growing down, this time from your left heel and the sole of your right foot. Building foundations into the mat so that you can feel supported from the earth. Feeling yourself sink further down. Remembering to breathe deeply in and out through the nose. The breath is super important here. It allows us to move through any slight discomfort and any weird tingling sensations that we may feel. And it allows us to relax. Noticing the sensations that may start to arise in the left knee, in the left foot, maybe the left toes. Take a couple more deep breaths here, and then we will move out of this pose very gently. So big inhales and exhales out the nose. Constantly breathing in and out. Very slowly start to bend into that left knee, placing the foot flat on the mat. Go ahead and wiggle the toes here, both feet. Just feel what that feels like in your feet and your toes. Bring some movement and sensations back into the toes. And then find some stillness. Start to peel and lift your hips off of the pillow or whatever you were resting on. Remove it out of the way. And then we're very, very slowly, one vertebra at a time, then fall back down to the earth. Noticing how this feels in the low back and in the spine. Have your pillows nearby. Keep them in your hand, actually. We're going to come to, up on our elbows, or actually on our hands, just to seated. And then we're going to take the block behind us, or the pillow. And I would actually spend some time figuring out what the best position of the pillow is for you, but we're going to place it on our upper back. I have it this way, lengthwise across my back. You can also have it running down the length of your spine, but I actually encourage you to see if you can keep it lengthwise, so or perpendicular to your spine. We're going to place it right at below our shoulder blades. For women, this is right where your bra strap would be. And you're going to place it there, and you're going to take another pillow, and you're going to place it where your head is going to rest. So it kind of looks like this. One pillow here and one pillow here. And the goal is to have this first pillow below your shoulder blades, and then you may need to adjust this a little bit, and then the second pillow is where your head's going to be. And the goal is to let your shoulders and your shoulder blades roll out or roll off of the the pillows. So your chest and your rib cage is lifted off of the mat, and your arms are at your sides with your palms facing up. And then go ahead and straighten the legs. So you may need to adjust this so you can find a more comfortable position, but the goal is to have our chest lifted and our shoulders and our collarbones and just broaden as much as possible and lift it up to the ceiling. You may need to adjust a little bit, so I just moved the block a little bit further up. We don't want it on our we don't really want it like resting on our mid spine, on our thoracic spine. We want it to be, we really want it to be like right below our shoulder blades. And then you can adjust the height or adjust the position as you need, but get yourself into a comfortable position where your shoulder blades and your shoulders and your collarbones are broadened and wide open, lifting up to the ceiling. And then you let your legs just hang out heavy. If this is tough on your low back and it's more comfortable to keep the knees bent, take your feet out wide and let your knees knock together, rather than just letting them sit up and you have to kind of hold them up. So let them just knock together. But if it's comfortable for you to straighten the legs, I encourage you to do that as well, so you can really relax into this pose. Another option is to take the arms like a goalpost out to your sides with your knee, or out so that your elbows are in line with your shoulders. And this really opens up the shoulders and the shoulders and the collarbones even more. So that's another option. If that's uncomfortable for you, just keep your arms at your sides. So in this pose, and we're going to come back to the breath here, so take deep inhales and exhales out the nose. This is a very nice, big heart opener and chest opener position. So in our normal sort of day-to-day activity, we're often hunched over in some capacity, whether it's looking at a phone or looking at a computer. We're always sort of turning inwards, and that's another stress response. Is we're curling up into a ball, and that includes our shoulders closing, our collarbones are sort of cinching together, and our head is tilted down, our chin is tucked towards our chest, right? So this is counterbalancing that constant sort of movement of our body that's happening throughout the day. So it's the complete opposite of what we normally do. And from an energetic perspective, this allows all the energy in your heart space, to flow freely out. So if you're feeling if you're feeling like you're mourning about something, or you're feeling like you're closed off to people because of the quarantine, and you're feeling lonely, this is a nice way to open up the lines of energy that run out of your heart space and create more space in your heart for compassion and for other people and all that sort of thing, and even for yourself, right? So taking time to create space in your heart for self-care for yourself and nurturing yourself, right? So this is a nice way to do that as well. If you've lost your breath, just come back to that deep, slow breath in and out through the nose. Noticing any sensations that start to arise in your back, maybe your lumbar spine, your shoulders and the collarbones. And if your eyes aren't closed, I encourage you to close them here and through the duration of the class while you're in these poses. It allows you to cut off an extra sense so that you can really go inside and turn inside of you and turn internal. And focus all of your awareness on your breath and those little micro sensations that arise in the body as you hold these postures for a long time. Take a few more deep breaths here through the nose. Feeling your chest rise even higher to the ceiling as you inhale and sinking farther into the mat as you exhale. At the end of your next exhale, we're going to very slowly lift our head just an inch and start to roll off of the pillows onto our side. And you're just removing those pillows out of the way. And just press yourself up to a seat. We're actually going to come onto our hands and knees. And just from that transition, notice how your back is feeling. So you may feel some tingling, some coolness that's running up and down the spine right now. Just noticing those sensations. And then go ahead and grab your pillows again. This time we're going to place them at the front of our mat. And ideally you have pillows that are about equal height. If they're not, stack the pillows on top of one another like this, but have them wide enough that you can place your hands on top of them at shoulder width distance apart. So for me, I have my blocks that are placed right next to each other, right where my hands would be. So we're going to take child's pose. And child's pose is where our knees are out wide, almost as wide as our mat, but our toes are touching together. And then we're going to place our hands on the block. And then we're going to sink our chest through. So it's a modified child's pose with a little bit more of a shoulder opener. You may need a third pillow to rest your forehead on. So I'm going to grab a pillow here. And I'm going to place my hands on the blocks / for you guys, it's probably pillows. And I'm going to allow my forehead to rest on the pillow like this. So, get your setup as you need, but you definitely want, these blocks are about 8 inches, maybe 6 inches tall. So you definitely want some height with the pillow to allow to have that sort of shoulder opening occurring. So it's going to be this whole part of the shoulder and like the back where, for a lot of us, it's hard to lift our arms right next to our ears with our arms straight, right? So this is going to allow us to open this part of the body and the back of the shoulder as well. So you definitely want a little bit of height with that pillow. So get yourself into that position. And then the other thing that you may want is a blanket. Because if child's pose is a little bit difficult on your knees, you can place a blanket on top of your calves, right up to the backs of your knees. So that creates a little bit of cushion and a little bit of space so that you're not crunching your knees together. So that actually may be nice for a lot of you guys. So we're setting up here. And you want to place the pillow at the top of your forehead so that your nose and your mouth are, there's space, and your mouth and your nose isn't pressed into the pillow as well. And we'll be here for about 3 minutes. And then as you're in this position, see if you can imagine a long line of energy running up and down your spine. So maybe it's a string, maybe it's an elastic band, like one of those resistance bands that we work out with. And imagine that it's, with each breath, it's expanding and contracting. So with each inhale breath, you're stretching out the elastic band in your spine. opening up space and creating a long line of energy as you inhale, and then as you exhale, it's sort of returning back to its natural position. In child's pose, we want to create length in the spine, release the low back. And then in this sort of position, we're compressing the hip flexors, and we actually are massaging the organs in our low abdomen as we are doing this. So as you breathe and your belly presses into your thighs, and then as you exhale, it compresses, you're pumping a lot of fresh blood and oxygen into those spaces and into those organs. So deep breaths in and out through the nose. Starting to feel the sensations that are happening in your knees, in your feet, and your upper back, maybe in your hips as well. And just focus all of your awareness to those areas and breathe through them. Again, this should be not painful, but it's okay to have some slight discomfort that challenges you. And in that discomfort, we breathe deeply, and it allows us to relax a little bit further into this position. And the breath is something that can guide us off the mat as well, right? So anytime that you're feeling like you're in an uncomfortable position, emotionally, physically, whatever it may be, you're feeling some discomfort, you can always close your eyes and start to find those deep breaths in and out through the nose. And you will find almost always that it will instantly calm you if you focus all of your awareness on your breath. It's a really, really good tool to have in your sort of stress relieving tool belt. Starting to notice the sensations in the top of the ankles, maybe in the hands and the wrists and the forearms. Noticing that gentle release of those connective tissues in your shoulders here. The micro space that you're creating each time you breathe. I'm going to take one more deep inhale breath here. And then as you exhale, slowly start to remove your hands from the pillows and press yourself up very slowly. And very slowly all the way up to seated on your knees. So you may feel a little bit of a head rush here. Take a deep breath in through the nose and a deep breath out. Come up into tabletop pose. And then just tuck your toes under and just start to rock forward and back on your toes just to release the ankles, and maybe coming onto the knees and just rolling out the ankles. Sitting back on the toes again, just shaking out those little movement or the parts of your body that were compressed. And then we're going to come to seated on our knees. So I actually, it's really comfortable for you to just sit on your knees, go for it. But I'm going to take, and I encourage you as well to take a pillow and place it in between your ankles and your feet, and sit down on the pillow so that you're not totally compressed in the knees, and it's more of a comfortable position for you. So we have a pillow right under sit bones. I'll turn this way so you can see. So it's in between my feet, and I'm sitting my butt right down on it, okay? So we're gonna be here, and we're gonna actually just work on opening up the neck. So turn to face you guys. So we're sitting on our knees, and then have another pillow nearby. Let's place it next to our left leg for now. And it's really just to allow if you're lifted up on a pillow, and if you reach down and you can't touch the floor, have a pillow nearby so that when you reach down, you can touch the pillow. So we're gonna start to work on opening up the neck here. Take a sip of coffee. So take your left fingertips and place them on the pillow next to you. Take your right hand and reach your arm around to your left ear. So your arm is curdling or like coddling your head here. And we're just going to start to take our neck over to our right shoulder, or our head towards our right shoulder. And we're not pulling our head down. This is more just guiding the head down. So I don't want, rather than being like this, just place your fingertips at the top of your ear. So right fingertips are just grazing the top of the ear, and your hand is guiding your neck towards your right shoulder. So this should feel pretty good. And then the more that you reach your left fingertips out farther, the more you should start to feel that nice opening all along the left neck and into the left shoulder and down into the arm even. So this is just a gentle neck opener here. And we're going to hold here for about 1.5 minutes. And then we'll switch sides. So if you've lost your breath, come back to your breath, breathing deeply through the nose. Starting to feel the tingling sensation in your neck and then the top of your shoulder. Maybe the eyes are closed here. This is another place that we hold so much stress and tension. The neck and in the trapezius area, right? This is allowing us to gently release those connective tissues, the tension in those tissues. Noticing the sensations that may have arose in the low back as well, maybe in the armpit on the right arm. Take a couple more deep breaths here. And then very slowly release your right hand. And very, very slowly start to tip your head back up to center. Take the pillow and place it on your right, next to your right leg. Take your right fingertips out to your side. And then reach your left arm around. Cradle the head so that your fingertips are right at the top of your earlobe. I'm sorry, not your earlobe, just the top of your ear where the cartilage is. And then very slowly start to tip your head towards your left shoulder. See if you can keep your chin parallel with the mat here. So we don't want to tip our head forward or back any amount. We just want a straighter, or like our chin right in line with the mat. So just the natural curve of the cervical spine is in place here. And take those deep, long breaths. See if you can drop that left shoulder down away from the ear and your mouth. Long, deep breaths in and out through the nose. Feeling the tingling sensations that are arising in the neck, in the trapezius area, in the shoulder, maybe in the tricep of your left arm. Sorry. Garbage cans. And remember, we're sitting up as straight as we can here, so allow yourself to find a little bit of length in the spine as you sit here. So rather than hunching in the back and letting your shoulders curve forward, we're trying to sit up nice and straight. Let's take a few more deep breaths here. Noticing the sensations in the left armpit and the right and the left shoulder as well as you cradle your head. At the end of your next exhale, very slowly start to release that left arm back down to the mat. And very slowly tip your head back up to center. Start to make rolls with the shoulders. So shrug your shoulders into your ears and down your back. Just make a couple of these circles. And then come back to stillness. Place the pillows off to the side. We're going to need those for the next pose. So we're going to come off of that block or that pillow underneath us. And then come into a tabletop position. Take your right leg and your right knee and cross it behind your left knee. So I'm sort of in this this like cross position, right? So our left knee is crossed on top of our right. Then see if you can take your feet out wider. So rather than together like this, see if you can take your feet out wide. And then we're very slowly going to start to walk our hands back and come to seated in this cross-legged position. So this is a pretty deep hip opener. So I'm going to offer a couple adjustments. You may need to place a pillow underneath your right glute. So that allows your hips to be more level with one another. The goal is to have our knees stacked on top of one another. I've been doing this posture for a long time and I still can't get there. So just so you know, it may look totally different for you. You may be, like up here. If that's the case, you can also place a pillow underneath your left knee. And then, we're gonna fold forward, but let's stay here for a little bit and just let our hips relax into this pose as much as possible. So this is a pretty deep hip opener for a lot of us. So again, I invite you to place a pillow underneath your right glute and maybe even one in between your knees. Maybe it's even a blanket. Maybe you place the blanket in between your knees. And then it's important here to keep your feet more flexed to protect the knees here. And then just have your hands resting at your sides. See if you can find a long straight spine here. And find your breath again. And then very, very slowly, you may need another pillow to rest on top of your left thigh. We're going to start to walk our fingers forward any amount so that we can fold. So again, you may need a pillow or a blanket resting on top of your thighs to allow yourself to fully relax in this pose and rest your chest on something. If you can't fold forward at all and that's really uncomfortable for you, like past the point of, just sitting with discomfort, just stay upright. But if you'd like, you can start to walk your fingers forward and fold forward into this pose. Starting to notice the sensations that have arisen in your left glute, your left side hip. And we're breathing deeply here. Take one more deep breath here. And then as you exhale, we're slowly going to start to walk our fingertips up and rise back. Okay, and then we're going to uncross our legs and then just come to sit on the mat and start to windshield wiper your knees back and forth and just release that tension that that stretch that we were creating. And then just swing your legs around. We're going to come back to tabletop and set up on the other side. So this time we're taking our left knee and crossing it behind the right. Take your feet out wide and then start to sit back. So you may need, keep your feet as flexed as possible here. You may need that pillow underneath your left glute this time to just try to level out your hips as much as possible. Let's see if I can get comfortable here. This is early for a stretch like this for me. Okay. And then you may need a blanket underneath your left thigh or your right thigh as well. And take a couple deep breaths to let yourself settle in, keeping your feet flexed. And arms are just rested with your fingertips on the floor. And deep breaths in and out through the nose. Few more deep breaths here. And then if you're ready, if you want to, you can start to fold forward over that right knee. The outer hips is another place that we hold a ton of stress. And they're really tight for a lot of us, so this is a really nice way to open up that space. Breathing deeply here. Take one more last inhale breath here through the nose. And then as you exhale, we're walking our fingertips back, coming out of the fold, and then uncrossing the legs, moving the props out of the way, and then just windshield wiper knees back and forth. The two more poses that we're going to do, and then we'll come into our final Shavasana, so final resting pose. So we're going to come to laying on our belly. We're coming all the way down. And then come onto your forearms to start. You're going to take your right arm. I'm actually going to face you this way. You're going to take your right arm and thread it underneath your left elbow. And you're going to take your left arm and take it out towards the side. So we're opening up this time the back body. And then you may need to grab a pillow to rest your forehead on. And we're going to hold here. So this is opening up the triceps in the front of the shoulders and creating space in the back. So I would definitely get a pillow to rest your forehead on. So again, we're threading our left or our right arm behind our left elbow, and then taking our left arm out to the other side. And then find that pillow to rest your forehead on, so you can fully relax in this position. Noticing the sensations that have come up in the right tricep and the right shoulder. Noticing what it feels like to release the hips and let the pelvis relax into the mat after those deep hip openers. Should feel pretty nice. And find your breath here. Noticing the tingling sensations that have arisen in the right fingertips. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Feeling the belly press into the mat as you inhale. And feeling yourself sink down farther as you exhale. On your next inhale breath, lift your forehead off of the pillow, and then just pull your elbows back towards their respective sides. So we're on our forearms again, and this time we're going to thread our left arm behind our right elbow, and our right arm out to the side. So we're coming to the opposite side, seeing if you can reach as far to each side as possible. So you should definitely feel a nice opening in the left tricep and the left shoulder. We're breathing deeply here. Noticing the tingling that has started to arise in the left fingertips. And breathe through it. Take one more long inhale breath through the nose. And as you exhale, start to lift your forehead off of the mat and then drag your elbows back to their respective sides. Press yourself up into tabletop pose. And then we're eventually going to make our way down to our backs. So you're going to want to have some pillows nearby. And we're going to move into some twists and then come into our final resting pose. So have a pillow nearby. We're coming all the way down to our back. And then take your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. Maybe make a few circles with the knees to massage the lower back. And then take your arms out wide to the sides, like open wide like a T. You're going to start to drop your knees. Two options. You can just drop your knees over to the left, keeping your shoulders planted onto the mat. If your right shoulder is lifted up, place a pillow underneath your knee. So you can either have your knees just stacked on top of one another, or you can cross your right knee over your left and drop them over to the left that way. So that's a little bit of a deeper variation. It's totally up to you. But if your right shoulder lifts up off of the mat, place a pillow underneath your knees. So we're coming into a final little twist before we come into our last resting pose. And relax here. You may, if your neck allows it, turn your head to face your left or your right fingertips. Take deep breaths here. Slowly letting go of any tension, any gripping sensations that you may be holding on to something. Just let go, release those. Take one more inhale breath through the nose. And as you exhale, return your knees back to center. If you have them crossed, uncross them. And then just lift your hips up towards the sky for a second. Just let your low back release. Maybe you wiggle your hips side to side and just release that low back. And then release your hips back down to the floor and then start to draw your knees back into your chest and then drop them over to the right. Option to cross the left knee over the right. And then drop into the right. If your left shoulder comes off of the mat, place a pillow underneath your knees. If your neck allows it, turn your head to face your left fingertips. And we'll hold here for about 10 breaths. Nice, long, slow breaths. Releasing any tension that you feel in the hips, in the legs, anywhere that you're sort of squeezing, just let go of that. I'm going to take one more long, deep, slow breath here. And then at the end of your last exhale, take your knees back to center. Place the soles of the feet flat on the mat. And once again, just lift your hips off of the mat and then wiggle your hips side to side, releasing that low lumbar spine. And then just go ahead and release your low back down. Stretch your legs out long in front of you. We're coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So let the outer edges of your feet flop down towards the mat. Take your arms out by your sides, palms facing up. And then lift your shoulder blades off of the mat and pull them together underneath you. Close your eyes if they are not already closed. And just enjoy the final relaxation, resting pose, Shavasana. Noticing all of those parts of your body that feel really nice and loose and open after that class. And allow yourself to just be present. Let go of any breath control that you have. Let go of any tension or squeezing that you're maybe holding on to, any gripping in the body. Just let go of that sort of tension. And just let your body be like jello, just flopping into the mat. And I encourage you to stay here for at least 5 minutes. I just want to thank you for joining me this morning. I'm just going to mute the video. There's just loud music, or not music, loud stuff going on outside. But I'm going to mute the video and block out my camera, but keep this stream going. So just stay here for as long as you need and enjoy this last pose. Thank you. What the fuck? What are you doing? Oh, it's so fucking annoying. What the fuck? I have no idea. Ugh. Why are you doing that so early on a fucking Sunday? I'm so sweaty. Hi, honey. Hi, honey. Hey! I'm sorry. Yesterday was so much fun. I had like 3 people message me, like, what are you doing? Why are you quarantining? I'm like, fuck you, dude. We have 1 day. Wait, who said that? This one kid I went to college with, and then my friend Rachel in LA. We went to the beach. We were away from a bunch of people, and it's somebody that we've been hanging out with. Like, yeah, like whatever, dude. Just get over it.
And it's legal.
Yeah, like it's not like we're breaking any rules.
Like, bitch, you don't know my life.
It's like one day. We've been so good. And we had one day where we wanted to go to the beach. Like, I regret nothing. It was so worth it. Get out. Get out.
Y'all just depressed and jealous.
Yeah, seriously. Just jealous. It was so needed though. It was so fun.
I am sober.
Are you?
Oh,
your legs, dude. I remember seeing that.
Last night I was just sweating because I was so hot.
Oh, honey! Oh, you're so cute! That's what we did. Did you eat the cake?
No.
I forgot. Hey!
So we can eat it all day?
Yes! Yay! Oh, that food was so good last
So
night.
good.
Oh my god.
That was also so nice. I was so tired after the beach was just like housewives.
Oh,
ready for
yeah.
it. I was
Don't
so
even,
exhausted.
yeah. Don't even worry about it. It was actually, but it was like really nice to like just Pops was making me laugh so hard. You watched that video on my story?
Oh,
She was like fully reclined in that chair. Like, well, first of all, she like ate. She was like eating her food, and then she laid back and was like resting her hands like this on her chest. And like her like boobs were out, and she was only wearing like her little like shirt with like no bathing suit and her sarong. So she was like, it just was making me laugh. And then she like grabbed her food and started like just like eating it laying back like that. I was like, you're such a goof.
yeah. That's hilarious.
Boom! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Right. Well, okay. So I called you guys. Do you want to go surfing?
Oh my god!
We're going right now.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh,
Come on. Do you want to come? You don't have to surf, but you can always lay on the beach if you want. Free honey.
Wait,
We'll be there for that
I want
long.
to meet you guys. Where are you guys going?
We're going to Doheny. So the thing is, Doheny, you have to park, I think, in like the harbor parking lot and then walk.
I was just teaching my class. That's why I didn't.
Yeah, I know. Because I
You guys
remember
go
us-
ahead. I just
Okay.
got up. Yeah.
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
I know. I called. He's like, "Oh, should we call Ellen? Like, if Nat's not picking up." I'm like, "She might be sleeping."
Yeah.
Yeah, she literally just.
Okay,
woke
get your
up.
stuff.
Okay, sorry.
I'm gonna get the board.
Okay. Oh, I'm so excited.